Hi, I'm still dealing with this issue of having been drugged in the hospital and feeling like I have some damage from it. Like my leg is messed up. I'm going to a body worker on Friday because she was helping with my leg. But like I met her at this dance event. I was like, yeah, my leg is really messed up, and she's touching it, and she's like, oh my gosh, like this muscle is really messed up, and it's affecting your hamstrings. It's affecting like all like five different muscles in my leg, and um, but she worked on it and it got a little bit better, and actually quite a bit better. So I'm gonna go see her again. And then my mind isn't really the same. And what's happened is I had like very bad concentration for the first few days after getting drugged, and I couldn't remember stuff well. And then I finally started feeling better, and then I was doing all right, feeling okay. And then I started the Budwig protocol, which causes a lot of detoxing from your cells. I also started mag pulsing my leg with my mag pulser, soda mag pulser. I love this thing. It's wonderful. But anyway, the circulation was improving in my leg, and there was still a lot of Haldol in my leg, so it started to come out. So I got exposed to it again, and I would try to take activated charcoal to soak it up and stuff, but I kept getting exposed to it. So I think I've gotten a little bit more damaged from it, and I purposely didn't read anything about it when I first got home. I didn't want to think about it, and I knew that it was probably a bad drug and didn't want to know about it. But then, when I started processing this, I started looking for other people's stories that had dealt with forced drugging, and I found in the course of looking for other people's stories, I found information about kind of the brain damage that can happen from Haldol, and I was just reading one article about how it makes the brain shrink within hours, and I had to stop reading the article. And my boyfriend read the rest of it, and he's like, "Oh, the volume comes back after a few days." So, and I've had brain injury before from drugs, and it's recovered. It's just I'm just worried because like this time something that got affected is my memory, because Haldol is very toxic to the hippocampal cells, and it's supposed to clear out of the body in not too long, but I had it in my body for so long, and because I don't clear medicines very well, so I'm just worried that I had hippocampus damage. And it reminds me that when I was in the hospital for anorexia as a teenager, they gave me atypical antipsychotics because they said it keeps my thinking from going in loops. And I would ask them, why am I on an antipsychotic again? And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It makes people more sedated. It is a wonderful drug for oppressors and for, I mean, I've read on Wikipedia that they use it for illegal detainees or illegal people that are illegal immigrants that they're going to deport. They inject them with Haldol. And it's wonderful because it makes people calm. It makes them go along with whatever, and it keeps them from being emotional about it. It keeps them from having normal emotions of upset. So and I've been just reading more and learning that's this dirty, dirty thing, dirty drug that people use in hospitals, and the doctors are allowed to use it for a wide, wide range of issues. It's like if they think that you could stand to calm down, they're allowed to inject you. And I don't know exactly the laws, but it's just ridiculous. I keep reading these stories of other people that were in the hospital, did not want to be injected with drugs, and maybe they were in the hospital for a non-psychiatric reason, like a head injury or whatever, and they were proclaimed to be bipolar, manic, have psychotic, blah blah blah, something like that, and then injected with these drugs, and it is just absolutely ridiculous. And I understand, there are cases where bad things happen in the ER, but to hurt all these people and traumatize people. A lot of people develop trauma and nightmares and flashbacks after being forcibly injected with drugs. I'm having a lot of trouble being touched now. I'm afraid to go to the doctor, and I probably should go to the doctor to get my leg and my brain checked and stuff, but I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go to the hospital. I shudder anytime I see advertisements for this particular hospital. You know, um, it's it's a terrible, terrible thing. And before any of the discussion about blah blah blah, should we inject people with psychiatric drugs? Any of that discussion has to um, center around. I mean, if you're going to be in that discussion, you have to imagine it happening to you. Um, you know, how would you like it if it happened to you? How would you like it if you were in the hospital, feeling a little bit anxious for some normal reason, and you got injected with drugs and with, sedatives like this, and not just any sedatives, but sedatives that could be toxic to your brain and could harm your leg where they were injected, and, it's harmful. So, you know, I'm angry and I want to work on this issue because it's like, police are able to deal with, people without injecting them with drugs. You know, it's like, couldn't they just have like a strong person working at the ER to like hold people down if something happens? And it seemed like that was what they had. That sometimes I'm not even talking properly, but it seems like they had that at this hospital because people did come and hold me down after a certain point, and I totally calmed down. When they were holding me down, they let go of me, and I was calm and I was just talking with them, and then they came and injected me with drugs. And it seems like the people were even in, when the people that had been holding me down heard the people coming with the needle, it seemed like they had let go of me, and I was just sitting there, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm okay." And when they heard the other people coming, they're like, "Oh no, we need you to lie back now," because I think that they were embarrassed that they had let me go because it didn't follow the story. The story was that I was crazy and out of control, and the fact that they had let go of me and I was just sitting there calmly didn't fit the story. I mean, anyway, you don't necessarily need drugs to calm to do this to people, and it should, I don't even think it should be an option. If you can deal with people in the ER with physical force and just holding them still, because they're if they don't have weapons. I mean, it's just like, why do drugs have to come into the picture? Why does like injecting people with drugs? I mean, like, if you're gonna start injecting someone with drugs for your convenience at the hospital, why not bring that into other locations too? Child misbehaving in the classroom. Oh, inject him with drugs. Oh, your spouse is arguing with you. Oh, shoot them with a tranquilizer. Why not just solve all of our problems with tranquilizing drugs? Like, why does it make sense to use these in a hospital um, and not in other locations? Why don't policemen carry Haldol with them everywhere? Anytime they're trying to arrest somebody, they just shoot them with Haldol, and then they get all sedated. Makes it so. It's just um, it just is the fact. Why is it used in hospitals? Is it because it's a medical location and they're used to using drugs, or is it because, I mean, how did this practice come to be? It's just it's pretty ridiculous, and then so many people are required to take Haldol by law, and how can the law force us to do something harmful for us? It's just, I mean, I've known people that had to take psych drugs in order to have their children given back to them, and sometimes people's drug levels are measured by blood tests, and it's just like, drugs are another branch of the prison system, basically. It's like they're the hospital branch of the prison system, and it's kind of a form of mental imprisonment, and without any warrant and without cause and without any trial, without any chance to defend yourself. What if they, I mean, it's really insane. It's like they're like, shoot first, ask questions later, and they don't even ask questions, because the thing with calling people crazy is that you never can get any it's a unfalsifiable hypothesis. If you call someone crazy, um, anything they do you can interpret as, oh, they're either crazy or they're in like remission but they're still crazy. And also, when you call a healthy non-crazy person crazy, I mean, not to say that there's a different, I mean, not to say that there are crazy people and non-crazy people, but if you call someone crazy, that makes them more crazy. It tends to make them more crazy because it's infuriating to be called crazy. It doesn't really support healthy back and forth human conversation. And I mean, if you haven't experienced it, it's hard to understand. But just when people look at you like you're crazy, it tends to, um, it's a, what's it called, where it makes the thing come true. And my brain isn't really working right. There's certain things I just can't remember. It's a confirmation bias, or it's a I don't know. Sorry guys, my brain. I really got my brain fried. And this is sad to me because I have like 150, 160 IQ, and I depend on my brain for my job, and I'm extremely angry that I went to the hospital for a drug reaction. I explained exactly what drug reaction I was having. I told them exactly. It should have been clear cut to them. I mean, when do people come into the ER and tell you exactly what happened to them and give you all the pointers and point out, this is a sodium potassium channel, sodium potassium pump issue, blah, 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 Um, and I'm angry that they damaged me, and I don't know if it's going to be permanent or not. But either way, I'm going to fight this. This is a terrible, terrible practice, and this whole psychiatric system is just evil. It's just so, so evil.